Welcome to the best damn arm wrestling sports show. I'm Brandon Dye, in Salem, Oregon. I've been pulling for 18 years.
Nice. And Mike, how about you?
Hey guys, my name is Mike. I'm currently a United States Coast Guard military officer. I'm here in Charlestown, West Virginia. I've been doing martial arts for going on 15 years and arm wrestling for 7 years.
Very cool.
Yeah, and you got Reza Domaganian from South Arizona.
And Scott Wynn coming to you from Southern California. How you guys all doing, man?
What's up?
Doing well, very well.
Good.
Good. I like to see some other military brethren in here. I'm 17 years National Guard, so Master Sergeant, Oregon National Guard. So
Very cool.
Nice.
What a coincidence, huh? That's kind of funny.
Nice, man.
So
Yeah,
tell
I did
us,
a lot of
go ahead, Mike. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in the sport and what got you started.
Yeah, so I was training with Reza since I was about 19, 20 years old. I was attending Arizona State University, and we were just hanging out, random party, and he said he did martial arts. So I started training martial arts with this guy, and it kind of changed my life a bit, in a positive way. Who knows where I'd be now without finding myself, and the MMA, martial arts background. And his story is very interesting. Maybe he wants to tell it himself, but he lived off of a mountain from it was like 15-time arm wrestling champion Alan Fisher, and he was climbing ropes and doing all this stuff, and Alan's like, "What are you doing, man?" And the way Reza describes it is, he went over and arm wrestled with Alan Fisher. He's like, he called me up on the phone. He's like, "I just arm wrestled this old man, and he just kicked the shit out of me." So and then Reza started going over there and started training with him, and then before you know it, Reza was competing at the highest levels nationally, and he called me up and he's like, "Mike," he's like, "you gotta start arm wrestling training." He came out to my house in Miami, Florida, built me a pulley system. I started training on it, and I remember I was doing arm wrestling training for like 3 months, and I wasn't doing any martial arts training. I went outside, and I was like, man, I was bored in the gym, and I went outside and I started working the bag a little bit, and it increased my punching power by like 3 folds. And I just the power that I felt combining my martial arts training with the arm wrestling training was exponential, and just for grappling and all that stuff. So that's just a little bit of the history. Kind of me and Reza go way back, and I met Devin Laird, and I live really close to what's his name, Reza?
Travis Badgett.
Yeah, I just moved out here, so I live out here next to Badgett, and once Reza comes, then I'll meet up with him and see where he's training and what he's doing. But the arm wrestling community is super cool, super nice guys. I showed up when I was in California to meet a training session with those guys, these big dudes, and they were super welcoming, and they were all just beating me, but it was in good spirit, and I just had fun with it, and I got some good training. My arms were just dead at the end of the day, but it was good times, man. I mean, everybody I met from the arm wrestling community has been great.
Yeah, most of the guys are pretty open armed for the most part. You know what I mean? So that's one of the best things about the sport is once you get around and you get to know people, you almost can find an arm wrestler anywhere in the world that would take you in. So it's pretty cool. So Brandon, how about yourself? How long you been in the sport again, and then what got you into it?
Let's see. I started 18 years ago, so 2000. 2002 is when I started. I think I was like a junior in high school. And I don't know. I used to beat everybody in school, went to a tournament, had no idea what I was doing, ended up winning the Oregon State tournament at 16. So I won the teen division and the pro class with
Wow.
form, just side pressure, no idea what I was doing. Just looking around, I was like, oh, I guess I go now after the go. And I just got hooked from there. Joined the service in 2004. Was active duty for 5 years and then went to the Guard. And through my travels, I've got to practice with, I've been at 44 different states in 17 years, TDY and different training. So I've got to practice with almost everybody around the country and go to a ton of tournaments. And I competed at a really high level from 2008 when I started beating like Anthony D'Antonio and Corey Miller and started beating Luke Kent consistently. And, a lot of the top guys in the 176 class. And I was like 4 years there. The military even sponsored me to travel, which was really cool. And so for 4 years there, I was just competing like 8-10 events a year. Won numerous US Opens, won national title. And then 2012 hit, I broke my arm, practicing on the East Coast. And
Dave Patton, right?
Yeah, with Patton, I was, young, mid 20s and just, kind of young and dumb, just cocky and arrogant, thinking nobody could beat me. And, I let a guy hit me over and I got out of position and I just thought I'd side press back.
Brandon, when you broke your arm, was it a low humerus fracture or a high humerus?
Yeah, low humerus fracture.
Well, that takes a little bit of
So,
time to heal.
like, I got a scar. I got a scar right there by the elbow joint where it spiraled. And then they put a rod through my shoulder down through the bone.
Through the
up here.
marrow. Yep.
So I quit for 6 years till 2018. I got back into it again, got married, had my son, just focused on my military career and stepped away. And then my first event back, actually I haven't lost in 3 years until this weekend. I lost to a guy that's the strongest human being I've ever met since Chad Silvers at 200 pounds. This guy was just a freak. He beat everybody, every weight class above him. He needs some technique. He's raw like me. He just likes to hook. But the guy's the strongest human being I've ever seen. He's 200 pounds, benches 500, deadlift 700. The guy's just a freak. And yeah,
You got a name for us, or?
His name's Brian Fry.
Okay.
And he's been on the scene here for a few years, but he's starting to get it together. Trying to help him on his hits, because if he learns to hit like Daniel Moser, the guy's going to be unstoppable. And he's just the strongest human being I've ever arm wrestled pound for pound. It's just, I've never pulled in a hook with anybody that could pull me back when I get to my spot. Even Roman Cindeliani, once I got to my spot, he couldn't pull me back. But if he got the jump on me, he was able to beat me. But this guy, I got the jump on him. And I had him like an inch from the pad and he pulled me back, side pressure. And it was just blew my mind. It was like Todd Hutchings level side pressure. So I'm really excited for him. He's a young guy. He's a couple of years, I think he's a year or two younger than me, young in the sport, but
Right.
He's got a lot of potential. I want to work on his top roll, learning how to slip against tall arm speed guys, and then work on his hit. And I think if he kind of gets those things down, I have no doubt right now he's top 10 in the US at 200 pounds. He's just, even with his lack of skill, the strength is just insane. I've never seen anything like it.
Wow, right. I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for him. It's funny, we have two things in common. I went to Oregon when I was in high school. I went to Klamath Falls High in 11th grade. And I won the Oregon State Championships when I was 16, about to turn 17. And I won the WWC World Wrist Wrestling Conference.
What high school in Klamath did you go to? Because I lived in Klamath Falls for 7 years. I was stationed down there at the fighter wing.
Klamath Union.
KU. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of guys. What year did you graduate down there?
I didn't go back for 12th grade. I played baseball up there, and then I met a girl when I came back to Southern California and didn't go back.
Do
But,
you know Jeff Wyford?
Nah, that don't ring a bell.
He's KU. I want to say he graduated.
There was a Jack Hall. Remember Jack Hall? He was a really good quarterback. He played for Mazama, and then he came over to Klamath. And yeah, he was a really good quarterback.
Most of the guys I know were at the Air Force Base down there at the fighter wing, and several of them went to, Mazama, KU, graduated in the late 80s.
Right. I loved it up there, man. I wish I would have went back. It was a huge mistake not going back, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's funny that you said that. You won the
Yep.
Oregon State championships when you were 62. I actually won $350. And I think we may have talked about it, but my uncle Singoli had the store out there, the sandwich shop, Singoli's. I forget the name of it, but they had the mojos. Everybody knew about it. And if the Singoli's was a family, my youngest cousin, Chris, might be closer to your age, because I'm 56, so I think I'm quite a bit older than you. So
Yeah.
you probably wouldn't know the same people, but yeah, so I entered under my uncle's last name just to keep me, amateur.
Hey, switching topics. Brandon, what was the first big win, athlete or competition wise, in your career as an arm wrestler?
Probably 2007 ROTN against. So I was pulling open classes and winning Washington State and Oregon State and Idaho, but I never had like a huge win. I went to some Reno and Vegas tournaments in 05, 06, beat some pretty decent guys, but lost to like Alan Fisher. Then my training when I got into the military and started bulking up and really focusing on my lifts and practicing with Jacob Abbott and Alan Bound and Steve Phipps in Washington, that took me to a whole nother level. And I beat
Amazing guys.
I beat Anthony D'Antonio, Jared Cash. So that was probably my first big win. And then later that year, I ended up beating Alan Fisher. I beat Eric Wolf down in California, Jake Smith, Vosgin. And that's where I started really kind of coming on the scene and figuring out.
You beat me too.
Was that, yeah.
You gave me a can of whip ass.
Luckily, I was in a lighter weight class, so I've never taken a loss to Brandon. So Brandon, what are you doing for training right now? Mostly table time, training in the gym?
Yeah, we practice once a month, actually on Thursday nights. We're not tonight because we just had that big tournament for Jody Williams charity for his son. So no practice tonight, but I'm doing a lot of gym. I bulked up a ton. I called it my COVID 20. I got up to 200 pounds back at the beginning of May. And now I'm back down to 182, 184. And I'm going to cut to 171 for the 78 kilo world championships, the IFA in Orlando. So I'm slowly cutting just like 2 pounds a week to get down to 171 for that in September.
Wow, that's a big cut.
So that's your next big plan, is to go towards IFA Worlds, or do you have anything before that?
You just got that super match.
Yeah, pulling Oleh Moisei. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about his technique, his cadence, his style?
Oh man, he reminds me a lot of myself when I was his age, but he's so fast. I was never that fast. And he's strong, he's technical, he really studies the sport. And I like how humble he is. That's why I really wanted to pull him, because he seems intense on the table like I am, but he seems like a good person. And I like that. I can't stand the fake, loud, arrogant personalities. It just annoys me. I want to see people be real. That's why I probably wouldn't be a good WAL athlete. I don't like fake people. It rubs me the wrong way. And I just think the kid seems like just a real good kid.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he says he's 185, and he says he's not cutting. He's going to keep bulking up. So we're just going to meet at 185 with just the weight that he's at. And I don't know. I just hope I slow him down. I think it'll be a good challenge to see where I'm at and really what I can hopefully bring to Worlds, because I don't know. I pulled Corey Miller last year. He had a super match with Yusei Serna
Okay.
before we pulled, and I beat him, but he also had like a best of 3 super match left and right with that guy. So who knows, fresh for fresh would have happened, but because I typically wouldn't beat him left-handed, and I beat him left and right-handed in the tournament. So I felt good there. I actually top rolled Corey, which surprised him, I think. Throwing a little
Expecting
different.
you to go inside, yeah.
Yeah, because typically I'm all about side pressure, Todd Hutchings style, hook kind of puller, but I mixed it up a little. But I feel good. I just don't know. I don't know where I'm at, and I think Oleh is probably one of the most impressive up and coming arm wrestlers. And just seeing him over the last couple of years, I thought it'd be a good challenge, and I respect him. He's a good kid, and I think he's got big things in his future. I think the kid's going to be a stud. I mean, no doubt one of the top in the country, and probably in the next few years, one of the top in the world.
Yeah, Oleg's an outstanding guy. Like, he's a stand-up kid, got a good head on his shoulders, means nobody in EL well, and loves the sport. Really, really loves the sport, wants to see it succeed and get bigger, and hopefully, one day turn into a sport where, guys like him, even yourself, make a living at arm wrestling.
Now, do you think you'll bang with him off the go and try and get a hit, or you think you're going to be more defensive and try and catch him and pull him to your side of the table?
I'm like 99% sure he's faster than me. I mean, I hit my goes pretty good, but his speed is intense.
Yeah.
I imagine it to be very similar to my match with Corey, where I catch and then
in here trying to get a lat drag back off the go to get to your side of the table. Yeah.
Suck in low and side pressure with him. I mean, I might mix it up if he gets me and I can't catch. I have some other ideas of some backloading top roll, dead hit top roll that I learned from Corey, that I've been working on a lot. And so, I love the strap. If I can go to the strap every match for the rest of my life, I'd be super happy, because it takes a lot of people.
It gets rid of this and it makes this the factor.
Well, and the thing is, that's as far as my wrist bends. So nobody ever takes my wrist, because I have no flexibility in my hand, in my wrist. So nobody ever takes my wrist, because it does.
You can't bring your hand backwards like that?
Nope, that's it.
Holy
that's
shit.
all.
Is that from an injury, or you just always been like that?
I've always been like that.
He's meant to arm wrestle. If only it was stuck like this.
Yeah. Get there. I just
mine don't go that far back either.
Mine goes pretty far. I mean, if you got to do a handstand, you got to be able to bend your wrists backwards. So yeah.
True.
Yeah, I can't do a handstand. That I'll never win that contest.
Plus advantage.
Big old ape wrists. I mean, my wrists are like as big as my head.
Yeah, you got thick wrists.
So no, I'm really excited. I like the kid. Like I said, he seems like a really good kid. He's humble. He's passionate. He gets on the table. He brings that intensity, and he might whoop me 3-0. I don't know, but I'm just excited to pull him.
Yeah, it's going to be a great match. Who do you train with? Like, who's your team you train with now?
So it's kind of hit or miss. There's a big group in Portland, Salem area. You got Mark Owen up in Portland, which trains with a lot of the guys up there. But here in Salem, it's really hit and miss. You got like the old timers. You got Sammy Hadabaugh, Gary Alves, Kyle Darby, Tom Stanley, Brian Fry is about 20 minutes south, so I'm gonna start getting him at my practices. He usually practices with Mark Owen up in Portland, but I'm a lot closer for him. And then we just got a bunch of new amateurs. There's like 8 to 10 that will sprinkle in and out, every few Thursdays. So, we get practices between 10 and 15 people regularly, which is good. I'm not as big of a, in California, a lot of guys film all their practices and that. And, I just don't put much effort into that. We just come and pull for a couple hours and work different techniques. And,
I'm going to film ours tonight.
well, one thing it's funny is I really preach rock climbing, because when I lived in Klamath Falls, I rock climbed a lot. And I attribute that to why my hands are so strong.
That's what I do every day, Brandon. Literally, right behind me, bro, is literally a mountain. And this mountain is my backyard.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
And bro, and I got some crazy climbs here. You get your ass to South Arizona. I'll take you climbing, baby.
I'm going. I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
I actually haven't climbed in like 3 years, so I'd love to get back into it. Since my son was born, I went with my ex-wife. We used to go rock climbing quite a bit. And it's a blast, but yeah, I just haven't been in a few years. So I'd love to get back into it.
Right on. Hey, Mike, where'd you live before you moved?
Yeah, I was in Sacramento area.
Okay.
So I trained with the Vacaville kind of crew a little bit. And I was then
you went to Paul Cohen's house for that big practice that they had with Travis and Devin and those guys. Tom Nelson, he was at that practice.
I met Tom Nelson's brother and went over to a couple of their practices when I wasn't just super busy with
You mean
military.
Mike McGraw? You've been over to Mike McGraw's practice?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
And just super nice guys, and all of them are just monsters out there, man. Like just it was amazing, and you always learn something. I'd always walk away super sore
And drunk.
Yeah, those guys are drinkers for sure.
Yeah, that's what they said. What is it? What's their saying? Arm wrestlers with the drinking. What is it? What's their arm wrestlers with the drinking problem? It's something like that.
Yeah,
I forget.
They would be drinking the whole time, just like holding me and just like kind of fucking with me a bit. But man, like it was just like, it was good training, man. It was good times.
Those guys, there's some good guys out there for sure. Really good guys to train with, especially Mike McGraw.
Yeah, and they train consistently out there. I mean, they're always training, and it was it just made me motivated to want to train more and more, so.
How much do you weigh?
I'm about 200 pounds right now.
Is that your ideal weight? Are you dropping down to like 185?
I weigh a little bit more than what I want. I probably ideally 185-ish, probably where I stand. Right now I'm doing, they got me doing software engineering project management for the Coast Guard. So it kind of takes over your life, I'm sure that
Brandon knows.
that he can attest, man. The military just it as much as you want to give, to the country, they're gonna take, So I'm kind of drawing the line, of my personal life and juggling work related stuff. So I train like 3 days a week. I'll hit the bag. I got some cool handles from Reza over here downstairs, and I got one of the Mazarenko arm wrestling tables a while back, and it's all downstairs. I got a new house here with a build out gym where I can stretch out. I got an arm wrestling table, a Bowflex, a bunch of bands and stuff like that. And I'll just grip up and sit there and just hold positions,
Yeah,
and,
you need to get together with one of the local practices and meet some guys and develop your own little practice too, possibly.
And Travis is out here too. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Travis is close. I'm gonna eventually. He just came out to visit me, so now it's my turn to go visit Mike, and then I'll go out there. Travis.
We should go out there at the same time because I haven't been out there yet either. And
We go hang out, chill with Travis, introduce him. He'll jump in, start doing CrossFit and arm wrestling with Travis. So.
Yeah,
I got a big empty house, so you guys are always welcome. And
there we go.
once I meet up with a couple of Travis's little buddies that train, stuff like that, more guys my size, not a giant, I'd be more than happy to go to their training sessions and get some good training sessions in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, Brandon, what challengers in the U.S. would you like to face over the next year or so, other than Oleh, that you're obviously having your match in?
Who's on your list?
Yeah.
Who's on the
Probably
hit list?
probably Jeff Hale, Sam Harris, Tony Katowski.
What's your take on Tony's recent match? Did you see it? Did you get to see when he went overseas to Turkey and competed against Bogazier?
Yeah, I didn't get to see it. I watched somebody posted a highlight of it. I mean, it looked like, I think the one match I saw, it looked like he, almost as close in strength. I don't know. I'd have to really go back and analyze it. But the one clip I saw, I mean, it looked like, obviously that guy's a world champion. He's #1 in the world for a reason. It looked like he controlled where he wanted to be in that match, but I have to go back and really watch it to analyze it.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony's big. I mean, Tony's put on a ton of size. The last time I pulled him was, it's the only tournament I did after I broke my arm, was 2013. It was a year after I broke my arm. I went to the UAL.
That's the one where they gave everybody like the yellow jerseys and white jerseys. Yeah.
So I beat Tony Katowski there, but Corey Miller beat me at that tournament. So, I mean, he was a lot smaller.
Beasts, man. I mean, both of them are beasts. So
Yeah. I mean, Corey Miller and I have been back and forth for 12 years. I mean, who knows? I think we're probably like 15-15 against each other all time, 20-20. I mean, we've just always been back and forth and wins, losses. But yeah, he flashed me that day, Corey. I didn't have like that side pressure back yet. It was only like 11 months after I broke my arm. And I just didn't, I was still a little nervous. I did okay, but I was still a little nervous pulling. And then I just kind of, I met my wife, ex-wife now, and we, just got focused on the family and kids and remodeling homes. And I just got out of arm wrestling for, 5-6 years there.
Yeah, I know how it feels remodeling homes.
Yeah, and it's hard making the comeback too. You know what I mean? Whether it's an injury or life gets in the way, but there's a thrill of arm wrestling for me. Training is fun because you can bring as much intensity as you want to your training, but when you're squared up, in arm wrestling, it's mano a mano, and it just, you always come back to it, and you reminisce about, just going toe to toe. And I think I was never involved in I played like soccer and football, baseball growing up, but not until I started wrestling, like the solo, man on man kind of one-on-one sports, did I really find myself, because, you play team sports and there's always somebody to blame. You have the team saying, you didn't make that catch, man, so you suck and you're to blame. Then, it's always somebody else's fault. But in these sports, whether it be wrestling or MMA or arm wrestling, you have nobody to blame but yourself. You should have trained harder. You should have came more prepared.
You got someone else to blame besides yourself. It's the ref. It's all the ref's fault. What the fuck? Ref, you made the wrong call.
Yeah. And I always wonder, watching these bigger matches, why, the sport just hasn't evolved to where they just go to the strap right away. Everybody plays games with the strap. Everybody's so good in the strap now.
Hold me back.
Scott loves the strap. If Scott could arm wrestle only in the strap for the rest of his life, that would be Scott's method.
Actually, hey, if that's the way the format was for the tournament, then I'm all in. But if you can't hold on and you need a strap to hold your hands together, then that's a handicap. You need an aid. You need something to help you stay in an arm wrestling grip. So take it as you will. Get a stronger hand. Work your hand. Your hand is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Work the shit out of your hand. You will never have to worry about getting in a strap.
And it's almost like people should be getting fouled for slipping. But I don't know if there's a way to actually tell without slow rewinds, who purposely slipped out and who needs a strap. And it goes both ways, strap, no strap, preference. But, when you come to the fingers, no strap. When it comes to the wrist, strap. So you're always going to have that battle. So
Brendan, have you competed under running foul rules?
I have not. No,
Okay, so
Really? Never?
yeah.
no. UAL didn't have that, and then I got out of the scene when WAL came on, and most of the tournaments I've been pulling are either like Bill Collins events or Leonard and Denise events.
Yeah.
So yeah, I haven't done any of that WAL style.
What's your perspective on running foul system? I mean, you haven't competed, but you've obviously seen matches take place.
Yeah. I don't know.
You've-
Torn. I like it and I don't like it. I don't know.
You've seen the match. It's almost like letting go on purpose. You're
Yeah.
losing the match. Oh shit, Brandon got me. All I got to do is lift my elbow and get a restart. I'll take the foul, but I
Yeah.
get to get a restart when you were just about to pin me. I
Yeah,
don't
and
know.
like it's like the Kings move, for instance. Like it took over, and how would the Kings move even work without a strap? It's all the pressures on the strap. It's not on fingers, it's not on wrist.
That's
I
a good
mean-
point. That's actually a really good point.
So
I don't-
what,
don't
what
even
do you,
get me
how do we
started.
fix that? Or is there?
Don't
a
get
fix
me
for it?
started on the Kings move. Don't even get me started on that.
We're trying to
Obviously,
reverse it.
Brandon's not a fan of the Kings move. We'll leave it at that.
No. No. It's funny because I pulled that way just to show some of our new guys who are all, I'm like, if you want to lay down and play footsie with somebody and lay under the table, there's other venues to do that late at night. It's like, I don't know. It just bugs me because, I broke my arm, so it doesn't straighten all the way. And my left arm, I can straighten it all the way. I haven't had issues with it. My right arm's been jacked up, all kinds of stuff over the years. So I showed these guys back in, I don't know, December, January at practice. I had everybody, I said, try and pin me. So I laid out just like Devin or like Michael Todd does, put my arm straight out with, the elbow joint on the pad. And I just had to elevate it about 4 inches off the pad. And I guys their entire body weight, and they could not, my arm just wouldn't bend. And it's not going to break that way either. It's just the way that it's fused together now after 20 years almost of arm wrestling and injuries. I could sit there like Crazy George and do that all day, but that's not arm wrestling. It's like a straight crowbar. Are you going to be able to bend a crowbar? You go grab a crowbar out of your garage and see if you can bend it. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. And it's a very injury prone position. I did the same thing during practice. I'm fucking around with Oleh. A friend stops by. We're drinking. I'm on the WAL table, granted. Like I'm not used to those longer extra 2 inches on the pad. I got my arm fully extended. I'm hanging down below. Oleh cannot pin me for the life of him. I'm thinking I'm gonna roll his wrist right now. He stands up, goes dead wrist press, pop, pop, pop. And I fucking
But
tear
that's
my
the counter.
bicep.
That's the perfect counter, is that flop wrist press.
100%. But being in that position should not be allowable. Once your arm straightens out, then you're pinned. You're done. You've lost the match.
IFA just recently announced that rule has been modified. If you
Yeah.
go into the Kings move, it will instantly become a foul. There's no longer.
Yep.
No longer.
Yep. I just talked to Leonard about it this last weekend. Yeah, we talked about that in depth about IFA and the Worlds and the way he's going to be reffing that. All of the referees will be reffing that. So
I'll be there as well as a ref. So
Yeah, and as it should be. That's the way it should have been from the very beginning. Titles were, robbed pretty much from that move. I mean, it was boring to watch too. It's like you just burn somebody out. If it's a tournament, then you're burning the next guy out. And then he goes on and then he's just done. And it's like,
Done. You can't beat anybody after that.
okay, guys, we're at less than a minute for this session. You guys want to come back for a part 2, Brandon?
I'd love to maybe another time. I got my boots and my helmet all about to go ride my Harley and
Oh man, don't make me jealous.
Oh shit!
I can't ride yet. I can't ride yet until my hand gets better, but
Well, I got a Ruckus, a 50cc Ruckus, so maybe I should go ride the Ruckus. Well, next time, guys, appreciate having you on the show, Brandon. Thanks for coming on the show, Mike. As always, your host Reza and Scott.
I'll see you in Oregon, Brandon.